is Daniel Robinson?
Saturday night, that question on the hearts and minds of Daniel Robinson's family and friends gathered at the state capitol asking for more to be done since the now 25-year-old geologist vanished in the Buckeye Desert.
My son is just not my son. He's also America's son, because this happened to a lot of families.
Since then, his father, David, organizing search parties hoping to find his son. Volunteers showing up week after week, standing strong with the Robinson family.
Daniel could be any one of us, and so we definitely need to bring awareness to the situation. If we don't speak up for him, and help find him, who will?
Daniel and my son went to the same high school. Felt it was my duty as his neighbor to be here to support him and really try to figure out where Daniel is and bring him home safe.
David's search parties found Daniel's Jeep Renegade rolled over in a ravine, airbags deployed, his clothing found inside out, boots and socks, wallet and laptop, no blood, no signs of injury, no signs of Daniel.
God knows how much we can bear, and at times I feel like I can't really take but so much more.
But in his weakest times, David says it's the volunteers that provide him strength.
Everybody know that I call them my extended family. And so this vigil is the same thing. We all here have one common goal, and that's to find Daniel and also to bring light. We'll have the other families.
As the Robinsons' extended family light candles tonight, their collective light shines towards that day when their question is answered and Daniel comes home. Josh Sanders, 12 News.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dave Robinson, father of geologist Daniel Robinson, coming to you again this morning for a Q&A and also to give you information on upcoming events, what I'm doing, and things like that. So this morning, like I said, I want to be able to give everybody the opportunity to ask more questions. I know that some questions may sound the same, but after going on 9 months, there's some people who have never heard of Daniel being missing. They're just not getting on the curve of understanding what's happening to my son and this whole entire case. They also give them opportunity to ask those questions and get fill in on the details of what we already know. There's questions that I won't be able to answer because of investigational purposes. I will let you know. And there's some that I don't know, I would let you know. So just feel free. And if you ever decided to ask a question on this Q&A, please put the word question first, then followed by your question. That way, when I go down the comment section, I can actually see your your questions. Also, if you put the capital letter Q, that helps also. Just wanted to mention that my son, for those who just new at this case, but not familiar with it, my son Daniel went missing on June the 23rd. He's a geologist who graduated from the College of Charleston, South Carolina. Came out to Arizona and landed his job in geology. He worked for a company called Matrix New World, is also called Matrix Southwest Groundwater, where they hired him on as a field geologist. What he does is a lot of times he go to these wells that communities that would be future places for where communities will be built, and he checks the valuability of the wells. So, just like that day he went missing on June the 23rd, he went to two wells that morning. The first one was I not have too much information about it other than, like I said, he checked the viability of that well. The second, he was doing the same. He came up to that well. He only been there. Met another gentleman at that well site who directed him into that area located where the well site is. And according to this one person that was there with him, they were the only two there. His story is that my son, they just had a brief 10-minute conversation, and my son decided to wave off and leave. He followed his tracks, made sure he was being careful not to disturb the tracks because he knew that this thing was going to become big and that, this, like we are now, has become national attention. The news media be coming, police officers be coming looking for him. So my son went missing, didn't show back up again, and we're still looking for him. He's still missing. Almost 30 days later, from June the 23rd, my son's vehicle right here showed up in that ravine, 20-foot ravine, only about a little over 3 miles away from that work site where he went missing. Of course, when we got that news that my son was missing, in our opinion, my son was we haven't heard from him as a family for over 6 hours. That is definitely something that Daniel wouldn't do. And so, we have to be really mindful of that. That is something that Daniel wouldn't do. And, that just alerted me right there that I had to call in on as a missing person report, put in a missing persons report. That was urgent. It's urgent. It was urgent enough for me as a family member to recognize that this is not his pattern. He broke a pattern. It's not right. And something is wrong. Of course, when I called the department, I called Tempe Police Department first. My son is a resident of Tempe, Arizona. He moved from Phoenix to Tempe some time ago. And so I called that department first. That department alerted me that I need to talk to Buckeye after I explained that the information I had is that he went missing near what is called the White Tape Mountain area. And that area belongs to Buckeye, Arizona. And so where a person go missing the last location, that's who is in charge of that case. So I was called that department, called the Buckeye Police Department to report my son missing. And they had quickly alerted me that it was below the 12-hour threshold to be able to report. So I had to hang the phone up I had to wait additional three hours before I can call back again and report him missing. I did so. That department decided to send a vehicle out on a road called Sun Valley Parkway. At the time, I didn't know what that was. I felt like they were doing great. Thank you so much for going out there and look. He said he was going to look to see if he's parked on the side of the road or stuck on the road or anything like that. So I was relieved in them doing that. I later, as I was asking around on the job, that my son actually went missing in the desert out there off Sun Valley Parkway. I asked the officers, can they go out there and look for him? They told me it's nighttime, they couldn't do it, but they would do it in the morning. They decided to. The next morning, of course, I'm not sleeping. Waited on the officer, called me back, said, yes, Mr. Robinson, we're gonna have a helicopter go out and search for his son. Because I explained to them, my son is not from Arizona. He's not from that area. This is the first time at the well site what I found out, and it was urgent. Saying it's unlike him to be missing this long. And I also at the time agreed to say he's going to send the helicopters out there. I was relieved that something was getting ready to happen as I was planning to come up here anyway. About an hour or so later, they called me back and said that he called me back and said, hey, look, that flight, the helicopter flight was canceled. It was unauthorized by the higher ups, his supervisor, because my son is a grown man. He can disappear if he wants to. And, from that point on, just hearing that conversation, I knew immediately that this department was not going to look for my son. So, of course, what any parent would do, grab everything you can. You're not even thinking about anything. You think about travel costs, whatever the case may be. This is your child is out there lost and nobody's going to look for him. So I had to leave. I left my home, and I got here in Arizona. I've been here since June the 26th, searching for my son. Tried to get the Buckeye Police Department to work with me. It appeared that they were at the beginning. I was asking for things as I was traveling, just having conversation with them on finding out cell phone ping locations to just anything, any kind of information we can get. I was talking to family members. Keeping them, letting them know what's going on, talking to Daniel's mother. I called her, and I'm sure her and her husband was out probably trying to find information themselves. When I got here to Arizona on the 26th, I got a call from my auntie who told me that the Buckeye Police Department is putting up what they call as a Phoenix Firebird in the air. And I was relieved, but I was already here by that time. And so when I got here, like I said, I tried to work with that department. Me and my daughter, we sat down with them on a few occasions, try to answer all the questions that we can, kind of think of anything that we could think of that would seem anything out of ordinary from the questions they asked, and try to share all the information that we can. But anyway, while in the meantime, the first thing I wanted to do is talk to this man at the well site. This man said that my son, who I know since birth, he's my son, my baby. I have a good idea of his mind frame and the way he thinks. Decided to come to work that day. Not all long came to work, but came to 2 work sites and decided to just leave. I would know my son to not have come to work at all if he didn't want to be there. He wouldn't have let alone go to 2 well sites. So I had to look at this guy in the face, and he had to tell me that my son drove off from him. It was exactly the way the officers were telling me that he said. So we started off that way, and that's why I started this Q&A this way this morning to kind of highlight on that one area of this investigation is what I had done at the beginning, and that's to talk to the gentleman at the well site. And like I said, he started off with the exact wordings to what I heard from the officers over and over again about what they said to them. And then later in that conversation I had 2 witnesses with me that day, and he changed the story. So he changed the story to include that he was walking left of the trail that he found that day, not to disturb it, say because the police will come looking and this thing will turn big. The media, news media, is going to come in. It's going to become national, this big thing. He just knew that. And he went to through some gate after he traveled for about a mile or so through a gate, which I know hindsight now what gate he's talking about. Back then I didn't, just listening to him. I had never been in the desert at the time, just standing out there on Sun Valley Parkway talking to him. And he decided to tell me that he went through that gate, drove another mile or so, and he got out. He walked on foot for a while. He went up on this big hill. He looked over the area to try to see if he could spot my son's vehicle from a high height. He got back out, started walking again some more. He got back in his vehicle, drove out some more. He started painting rocks red with red paint to mark so the officers could know which direction to go and things like that. So those are the things I had to start off with. I thought it was very suspicious. I kept my composure. I just wanted him to finish his story. I immediately called the detectives and let them know what he was just told us. And the only response was that, oh, that's what he said? Yes, that's what he said. I wanted them to do a follow-up on his, on him, and they didn't. So only thing I hear from that report they did was ask him questions. Nobody has never been interrogated. Nobody's been brought into the department for questioning. These people, these officers, this department, as far as I understand, decided to phone question people, phone question them or just ask them questions. So that type deal. So things like that was at the beginning wasn't my son's case wasn't taken seriously. Like I said, they didn't so much as making excuses. They told me at first they was gonna get a warrant to try to get his cell phone pings and things like that. The detective supervisor, Hanneman, came back quickly and said he couldn't do it because my son's case is not a criminal case. And so he couldn't send it to some judge, as you're saying, and get it authorized or whatever the judges do. And so that's one of the things that was given us at the beginning. We started asking about not just cell phone pings, satellite imaging. We realized that my son had a Uconnect in his car. It's something similar to an OnStar. There's some way conveniently couldn't get that. Just everything we asked for at that point, they conveniently couldn't get. We wanted the traffic light, so his directional to his job. Hey, look, he had to stop at lights, go through traffic. And I know here in Phoenix, for instance, and in Buckeye area, in Tempe, that's a lot of streets where they have those, how you run that light and that camera will take that picture, your tag and everything else. That's on mostly, there's a lot of places here in Arizona like that. And every corner that I've seen, major street, have cameras on those streets. But somehow this department said my son, in my opinion, had some type of cloaking device, I guess, on his vehicle that all the people in the world, they can track a person as a bank robber, left that bank, and they can track him all the way to his house if they want to. But somehow my son's vehicle go unnoticed somehow, isn't, missing these cameras. So everything we asked for to this date, they tell us they can't get, or some type of excuse or reason why. And so those things were troubling at the beginning. And, as a father, and, being here on the ground, that was hard. I felt like this department immediately, quickly wasn't really taking it serious, like I said. So I had to start my own investigation by talking to the man at the well site and also asking questions, trying to work with the Buckeye Police Department to get answers to my investigation, what happened to my son. I noticed that they weren't going to look for my son. At that time, they didn't have any more searches. But they did describe us almost 2 weeks later or so that they was going to have the Silver Air Patrol come out to that desert and look for my son. I didn't believe them from the first search they claimed they did on the 26th. And the reason why, because also in that conversation with the man at the well site, I asked him, I had, look, I said, have you been here all week? He said, yeah, he's been there since my son went missing. He'd been there every day, all day, working on that well. And I said, okay, well, good. You was out here when the Buckeye Police Department showed up to do a search. They had the helicopters and everything. And he said, well, I personally didn't see it, and that run a real hard bell to me. Like, okay, but this department lying to me and my family, because why is this man saying he didn't hear or see the Buckeye Police Department that day? They came out there with a helicopter looking for my son, and they came to the well site to look for my son. That was a red flag to me, because this guy said he did not hear. He said, I personally didn't hear or see these helicopters. You know, if he's at the well site, it's impossible to see officers pull up on you in front of you unless they had a cloaking device on. And he didn't see the officers there looking for my son in that area, and he didn't hear any helicopters flying overhead. And that desert is quiet. I took my best friend out there, Freeman Hall. I hope you don't mind me mentioning his name, but he was out here for the candlelight vigil, and he also went out there in that desert with me. And at times I would tell him, we went to go visit the crash site, and I told him to sit still and to stay there quiet. And I can tell you out there in that desert, it is super quiet. It's so quiet, you know, as a city guy, you know, it bothers me because like I can hear, tonight, as you call it, it's really loud, really bad. You know, so quiet. It's very quiet. I mean, it's eerie quiet out there in the desert. And if it's helicopters or anything flying out there, you can hear it. I can hear airplanes flying, I'm sure, miles away, 100 miles, long miles. I don't know distance, but really far away. You can hear, critters and things like that. You can hear things if you was to listen really hard, but it's so eerie quiet that you can it's like you hear your own thoughts. So it's impossible for this man at the well site to have not heard anything or seen anything. So that's one of the things it was told to me, and it made me question to this day. I'm really, really, really still hardened on seeing in Phoenix that they say they used their helicopter with Phoenix backed them up on their story that this helicopter actually flew that day. And I can almost bet on it, in my opinion, that the answer to that will be Phoenix saying, no, they did not fly a helicopter looking for my son that day. So, but anyway, I just wanted to open this Q&A. I just want to give you a spiel this morning, and that's where I'm going to start at. If you guys have questions and you have more, just put the word question there for first. And as I come down timeline, the comment section, it will help. So thank you. I'm going to try to see if I can try to say hello to everybody much as can. Thank you so much. Let's see here. I have a lot of people this morning. Thank you. Thank you all for coming in. First of all, thank you, Minnie. I really appreciate you coming in so much. Thank you for being here, coming out to share your time. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you also, come out of her. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Interesting name. I really appreciate Nikki. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you coming out this morning. Thank you, Lois, for being here. I think I finally got your name correctly, and I did get your text message this morning, and I did respond. I will try to get those flyers out to you whenever I can, and also I would definitely do what I asked, the other things I promised the other day. So thank you so much for reaching out, and everybody else who left me messages. I'm going down that text message this morning. Once I finish the Q&A, I'm going down there and try to get as many as I can. So thanks so much. Thank you, Lakeisha, for being here. I really appreciate that. I'm looking forward to you coming out this weekend. I appreciate you being here this morning, helping out much you can. Thanks, Sophia, for being here this morning. Part of the A team. Oh, there you go. That's right, from the A team. I really appreciate you being here in the background. You know what I'm saying? Helping out in the comment section and things like that. And also, this is one of the persons that helped me put the candlelight. We put the candlelight, the visual together. So I'm really grateful for everybody on the team. Also, Brooklyn, thank you for being here. Cord Cutters TV, thank you so much for being here this morning, coming in from YouTube. I think I said something already, Nikki, but thank you for being here. I really appreciate that, for coming out this morning. Also, let me see who I have here. Alexi, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you also for coming on. You guys don't have to be here, and you are, so I'm really grateful for that, that you take your time to do this. So thanks so much. I think I said it already, but thank you for being here. Photo Files Photography, Lorraine, thank you so much for being here this morning. Okay, you're a Grizzly. Love my Grizzlies. Thank you. I'm sure Gizla will be happy that you're here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Susan Smith, for being here this morning. Rachel Honor, Arnold for being here. Thank you so much for being joining in. I believe I said it before, but thank you, Nikki O'Shea, for being here this morning. I really appreciate you coming out. God bless you for that. Mary Flynn, I'm having a little trouble with my voice. I see that. Mary Flynn, thank you for being here. All right. I really appreciate your time for coming out, being here with everybody. Also, thank you, Cassandra Lee, for coming out this morning, being part of the Q&A. Okay, and I have one here. And I see a question, and I will come back to your question, and I may can answer that now. Thank you, Fire Mama 411. Thank you for being here, and thank you for, thank you so much for being here this morning. I do see your question. Normally, when I go down the comment section, I'm looking for the word question first, and then your question. But I happen to see this one, so I think this is a question. And I will read it. It says, it has all social media accounts, Instagram, Messengers, Snapchat, etc., in your son's name being checked or reviewed with deleted messages. Also has the cell phone location being checked 30 days prior to him being missing. Whereas the cell phone locations and things like that, yes, it's been checked, but like a lot of people didn't know, that phone, when I received it from the Buckeye Police Department, it was wiped. It was wiped from everything on Google for search locations to the information between him and the young lady, other than her contact name and number, and also the memory card in that phone was missing. So, but I was able to get with Google and retrieve some of that stuff. So thank you so much for that question. As in for the social media accounts, yeah, we're still looking into those. And they have been checked. Some things have been checked already, but we're still looking into those. I'll leave that to my private investigator. But thank you so much. And also, again, if you guys have questions, please put the word question there first, and then followed by the question. It'll be easier for me to see it. So thank you, Mary Flynn. I thank you for being here. David, have you asked the Army to help with a huge search? Yeah, I tried it with the National Guards. I was told that they was already booked for this year here. So I'm going to try out the avenues. I tried to reach out to my battle buddies. I did have one to come out for the candlelight vigil. I was really happy that he came out. He's my old roommate and friend. So he's my friend, and he's out here. Like I said, we have a lot of battle buddies and military family members that's out there, and I'm calling them to, if they would like to come out. I know people, we have our schedule in our life, but yeah, it'd be nice to be able to see some of our battle buddies out there. But as in the military itself, only thing I can do is reach out. Yeah, of course, being a veteran, you need some help. I don't think our service actually stops when we retire or we leave the military, in my opinion, because I'm still here to protect and serve our country. I still have a duty to, to protect the Constitution and things like that. So, I put my time in, have injuries from that time, and I don't feel like anybody owe me anything, but you know what? It'd be nice to have a little help from that department. So thank you for that question. Again, if you have a question, please put the word question there first, followed by your question, and then I can get to it. I can see it a lot easier. Also, thank you so much, everybody, for being here this morning on the Q&A. Esther Levy, I think your name. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And I don't know if that's a question, but you guys, if you have a question, please put the word question there, followed by your question, and that would help so much. Let's see, interest does anyone? Okay, no, that's not a question for me. That's for the chat. But again, if you guys also, if you need to ask the question again, please by all means put in the word question first, and then I can see that. Yes. Well, anyway, the bottom screen, I have the tip line is right here also behind me for those who have a tip and need to share. Copy go to myself, my investigator. You can come to me. I can get some of the information, but the The tip line is a 24-hour hotline with live operators. They'll take your call, take your tip. You can remain anonymous, or you can be non-anonymous. It's up to you. They will ask you that, and the information, like I said, will come to myself in real time, and also my investigator. And also, if you don't want to talk to anybody, you can also fill out the tip line form by texting the word tip to this number, a number on the bottom of the screen, and the form will come up there. You can still remain anonymous if you like. But like I said, if you guys want to share a tip, which I have gotten some, and I really appreciate the person who left this recent tip. And but like I said, the tip line is definitely for things that will possibly bring my son back home, not for advice. Hey, look, Mr. Robinson, I think you should check the aqueducts or something like that. Nine times out of 10, we already went that direction looking for certain when I on my searches, and but it's okay to suggest, and I look for all kinds of suggestions. Like I said, I'm just a grassroots search. I started my searches based on need to find my son as an action need. At the time, my son was missing and went missing. I had to find him, and it was an urgency because it was a rescue mission. My son could have been out there hurt. Fell into some hole. I heard there was mines. That was really scary to me. I learned about mines out there just from the internet, and all kind of dangers out there in that desert. So like I said, that was my motivating factor to get out there in that desert. I was going out there to drive my car out there. I've been obedient to Buckeye suggestion for me not to go out there on my own. I spent many days at that gate, Sun Valley Parkway, Ketch Road gate, out that way, and looking with my binoculars. I mean, almost every day, and looking at the terrain, hoping I can just get a flash of his vehicle and see him from afar. I didn't realize that to me that land looked like it was flat. I needed to get in there to search my son. I was able to get together a team to start my own searches. I was able to get there at the well site first and go look for my son from that point. And I have been doing it for over 28 weeks now. And with the help of volunteers and people who spend their time, their Saturdays out there with me, in the hot sun and in the cold winters, just to go out there with me to look for Daniel. So I'm grateful for them. But anyway, yes, like I said, if you guys have that type of information that you want to say, hey, look, Mr. Robinson, go to the left or right or this place or that. I think this happened, so on, so on. That's not what tip line for. That's what the number is on the bottom of the screen. If you guys can use that number as a public cell phone, like I told Lois this morning, I was able to get to her message. I was able to get to a few others this morning. It may take me a while, but I will get to it as soon as possible. But that's what that is for. It is for, like, if you have comments, hey, Mr. Robinson, thinking about you, or whatever the case may be, or to, like I said, hey, maybe have you checked this yet or something? It's a grassroots type deal. I'm not a professional. I'm just a father, passionate about my son, love my son, and I'm driven by that. So I'm out here doing the best I can. I'm not perfect by all means. I can make mistakes, but along the way, but at the same time, I'm putting an effort in, like any parent, any father would, any real father. That's a lot of dads out there, but there's some fathers out there too, and I'm one of them. I'm a father, and I provide and take care for my children, and my family. So that's what we do. We put ourselves on the line, a life on the line for our families, and that's what I'm here to do. Take care of my son's situation and make sure he get due process and everything he should out of this. We're going to find Daniel. And that's what the bottom line is. So I know this, in my opinion, this department probably rather I've been gone, but it's not going to happen. So again, you call, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, and you can find all kind of ways you can help this cause. And I really appreciate you. Thanks so much. I'm still looking for your comments. So again, if you have them, please put the word question there first, and then followed by your question. That helped me go down and see it. Thank you, Yanu, for being in the chat and also giving that information out that I just left. I really appreciate that. Okay, I'll start with the questions. I see one from Nikki with the questions. Is the word colleague a citizen of Arizona? As far as I know, yes, he is. He's a citizen of of Arizona. And what I understand, he's been living here a long time. So, yes, he definitely is. And so, thank you for that question. Matter of fact, one thing that I wanted to see, but it didn't happen, is him to come out and support in the searches. I think that a person very concerned about a person and they go out and travel, they say did all of the stuff to go look for my son, you'd think they would be one of my top volunteers out there in the desert. But I have never seen this gentleman only once. And that was when I went to go question him. After that, I have never seen him to this day. What I understand from my son's phone log, he hadn't called my son that day when he went missing. He decided to go and walk and look and do all the stuff, but didn't do one thing at the time he was doing that, and that's to pick up the phone and call him like he did when he told him, some things that's in there, some things that you guys I can't put out here yet, but some things he left for my son prior to him coming to that well site. So that type stuff. So anyway, so just wanted to put that out there. All right, we got Nikki again. Thank you for your question. Would it be helpful for us to tag Buckeye on Twitter with posts asking for the FBI to help in this case? Yes, in my opinion, yes, you can. And that would help out a lot. I don't know how much they monitor their stuff, their pages. I'm sure they monitor for all kind of things. So somebody would see it. I don't know if the right people see it, but yes, by all means, if that help, anything like that helps, please do. Because you have interest in this case, and that's what the Q&A is about. This is what we as a U.S. extended family, to me, is about. Is to express our concerns about this case and what we feel is not happening and what should happen. So, and like I said before, a couple of days and been saying for a while, I have no confidence in this department anymore at all. Their credibility to me has been shot, especially some things I read in the report, some things I skipped over all the time in times of doing interviews and everything else, not being able to fully sit down and read the report. I was able to a little bit with Miss Q on her channel, with Q on her channel, and we was going through the police report, and I was pinning against the original report that this department gave me, the original two reports that this department gave me, and I seen wordings changed, sentences changed, and things like that. And also saw for the first time, and I was trying to figure out where the media was keep getting this from. It was irritating me, saying that I, as a father, was saying that my son was in love with a woman that he didn't know, and that's far from the truth, and it wasn't true. It's something I didn't say, and some things that my daughter's a little uptight about too, that they said that she said and didn't say. So I would never say something like that. My son was not in love with a woman he didn't know. He never did express that to me or anybody else. So that's was somebody's opinion, and they must have paraphrased something the way they want to, that me and my daughter and myself said when they had us in that interrogation room. So no, we'll never say anything like that. It never happened, and it never will. My son was not in love with a woman that he didn't know. So that's far from the truth. Like Chief Hall's famous word, is far from the truth. Yes, that's far from the truth. Again, thank you so much for your question. And if you can, please, yes, by all means, hit them up. Call them, and express your concern. Email them if you can. Express your concerns. Hey, look, tell them, look, it's not right. I've been asked for the FBI to come in again. If this department want to be in the way, they need to move out the way. I'm a father looking for my son. They need to move out the way and get a department in, and they actually will do some work and get to the bottom of what happened to Daniel. So, and work with me and call me and keep me updated, things like that. This department do not. Last time I heard from this department, probably almost 2 months now. Well, last time I heard it from them when I asked them to come out to my search, and they brought that white little fluffy pet, like a pet cadaver dog. They had to do a search, and also the none with the camera that can't go underwater to search the well. So that's the last time I heard from that department. They don't, I told them, hey, look, try to give them some kind of props, like or at least you came out, but I'm a person who's detailed, and if the job is not done correctly, I can quickly recognize that, and that irritates me. irritates me, especially this is my son, it's his life, his integrity, his honor, all that is at stake. And you're not going to treat my son like, you know, you would your pet, your animal, or anybody else. So it's not going to happen on my watch. So they would need to treat my son with urgency the way they would do their own, if their own child, their own love, their child that they love, their own wife or husband or whoever, you know, the way they would treat that person, how they would treat themselves. So that type deal. But anyway, thank you so much for being out this morning. My name is David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson, and I'm here to do a Q&A again this morning for anybody who had questions, and also to put out information. Dodge Defender, thank you for being out here this morning. Question: isn't there a military base nearby that should have satellite footage? Can someone in the military work with a B? Yes, there are. There's an Air Force base on the other side of the White Tank Mountains from where my son went missing. And yeah, we did inquire about that all the time. There's thousands of satellites out there. Of course, you know that it is a military base. They fly those jets over the area where my son went missing all the time. And, you know, they keep track of those things. So it's definitely hard to get information like that from the military. Being able to get some type of footage from the satellites. But I'm trying to have people that's in the background trying to reaching out, trying to get information on how we can get satellite footage. These Google and some of these other satellite imagery systems are outdated. Some haven't been updated since 2020 or 2021 and things like that. You know, some of them farther than that, you know, early 2000. So 2005, I've seen one. So, you know, some of them have been updated, and it's not no help or use to us right now. So I'm sure there's some out there. Just got to figure those parts out, and I really appreciate it. So for the question, thank you so much, Dodge Defender. Again, I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson, who was missing on June the 23rd, 2021, and he remains missing. His vehicle was found almost 30 days later on July the 19th in that ravine there. And outside that vehicle was his clothes. The orange thing you see there is his safety vest on the ground. And everything he was wearing that day from his job was on the ground. You know, we're still trying to find my son. I started my own searches and my own effort. I've been here for 8 months. My son been missing over 8 months. And, you know, still trying my best. You guys are new coming in, please, if you don't mind, hit the like, share, and subscribe to this channel. That will help the algorithm for me to be able to get my son's story out a little farther. And that's the name of this game, is to make awareness. The way I like to look at it is if somebody knows something, heard something, can say something. Thank you, Gwen, for putting that. Thank you for being here too. Can you know, say something or see something or heard something, they may do it if that's only if they know we're still looking. I had some people to ask me, say, "Oh, I didn't know he was still missing." You know, there's rumors out there that Daniel was found, all kinds of things. So, you know, to be able to put this information out, you guys can help me keep my son's name out there and keep the story alive. You know, please do so. Like I said, just like, share, subscribe can help this channel get out some information, get this Q&A out, get some other things I do on this YouTube channel out there to keep awareness about my son. All of us in this together. This could easily be one of your family, which I hope not ever. You know, I think no family prepared for this. I haven't prepared for this. I know that for my sake, not just my family, just for me personally, just being retired, sitting one day sitting on your porch, enjoying your retirement, and then next day you're out in the desert looking for your son. It's not an easy thing mentally. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard when you're used to life a certain way. I'm used to talking to my son for 2 hours at a time whenever he called and have things he want to talk about. You know, so to have that absent out of my life right now is very difficult. I'm sure it's difficult with his mom. I don't know his conversation with his mom, but I'm sure he called his mom a lot more. And it's very difficult for her to not have a conversation with her son. I know his siblings, you know, they're very close. They're so close that the way the detectives was able to get my son's phone was because my daughter could provide a password, and they share passwords. That's how close they are. So those are as our family cohesiveness is, so that's why, again, I don't buy the story when they say, oh, my son, the Buckeye Police Department detective suggested that my son somehow wanted to be away from his family and decided to join a monastery and become a monk. That is something that just can't happen, not in this family. And that was actually offensive for a person to even suggest that at a time where I was out there devastated, getting the news that they found my son's vehicle but didn't find him. So but that's the kind of heartless things and kind of crazy stuff I've had to hear since I've been here in Arizona. That just shows a pattern to me of how you could say, you can say what you want to, Chief Hall, and I'm calling it out because on CNN, when that reporter told him that, the way she interpreted that we said that they don't care, and he's saying that with that smirk on his face, that's far from the truth. Then why you got the smirk on your face, first of all? Second of all, where's your actions? You can say anything you want to verbally, but your actions will tell a lot. With me, it goes a long way. I have never seen Chief Hall on the ground with me, walking that desert out there, line search or whatever the case may be, directing his department, his officers to be out there, pulling security, do something. Help me look down in these wells, locate these mines, find dogs to, bring a pathologist to identify all these bones that we find out there. Just all that kind of stuff. So action speaks louder than words. Thank you, John, Mr. Q, for being here this morning. I really appreciate you coming in from New York. I really appreciate you here this morning. Thank you so much. And thank you again. And you're welcome, Fire Mama 411. Thank you for being here this morning. I really appreciate it. Again, my name is Dave Robinson, father geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm doing a Q&A for those who have questions and concerns about this case, and also to bring you information about upcoming events. I will have more. I have my A team out there. They they're Team Daniel. They call themselves Team Daniel. I call them my A team. The A team because Alpha team, we do that in the military, and also they're Arizona here. Arizona, a lot of them Arizona natives and some not, but they are here in Arizona and helping me out. I really appreciate them. Putting things together in the background. As soon as I have the candlelight visual, they're on the next thing. So we'll bring that information to you as time goes, and I'll give you information here on this channel. So thank you for tuning in. Okay, thank you, Charlotte, on the web for being here this morning on YouTube. The question: do you have any theories on what happened to Daniel? Yes, I do. And the biggest theory I have is that it's definitely not Daniel leaving his family to join a monastery, become a monk. And my theory is just looking at this picture, it started from this. The first time when I look at it, and I know some people say I'm biased, but I also have a brain. Sometimes you have these departments and people, because they don't want to do anything, in my opinion, they'll try to change your perception about something, and change using your own mind, and you can look at certain things and just look at that for common sense. I think I'll be a better detective than the detectives they have, because when I look at that, I see foul play. First of all, one thing is, why would my son take all his clothes off? And they say, hey, Mr. Robinson, this is because of the brain injury. Your son had a brain injury. He had severe brain injury. He kicked the sunroof out. The brain injury make him feel like he's hot, and he shred his clothes. Like I tell you again, I'm a veteran of Afghanistan, and I have a brain injury. I never shredded my clothes. That's one of the reasons why I'm retired from the military. I didn't shred my clothes when I had a brain injury, and it don't make you hot and all this kind of stuff. So when I hear this officer tell me that, I'm thinking in my head, I didn't tell him at the time about my history, but you know what? I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, you telling me as a man who's been through a brain injury and that somehow you shred your clothes off. I never heard that. Science-wise, it could be true, but I don't know. But I just took it and I looked at it. But anyway, I look at that, and then the other suggestion was that everything he's wearing was on the ground. He may have changed clothes or something, We don't know that, but I do know that if a person is changing their clothes, it's a lot of times I don't understand why they would take their underwear and socks off. Why would they do that just to change clothes? If you change clothes, you take your shirt off, put a cooler shirt on, cooler pair of shorts, to take the pants off, put shorts on. I don't see you stripping down to your underwear and socks, taking everything off your body, just going naked, and then you start trying to put clothes on. And and then the other part is, if you're with a brain injury and you're disoriented, why are you putting it in the pile? You'll just sling it all over the place. You probably be all over the place. So some things I look at that, and I say, detective wise, I would suggest somebody put it there purposely in a pile, because nobody just do that with a brain injury. That don't go consistent with what I see on that ground. So true to that detective work to me would have been things like that, thinking logically and rationally. And this department hadn't even displayed that. They even went so far as to suggest that my son, because he said he was tired, according to the guy at the well site, that something was wrong with him. That goes along with their theory that my son has something going on mentally. You know what I'm saying? And even with that, they didn't see that it was danger for him to be out there when he had something they feel was mentally going on, and he was out there missing. But anyway, beside that point, they felt like, hey, look, he said he was tired, but they didn't do their due diligence. Something simple as go to Google, like I did. I don't have warrant capabilities. I'm not a judge or anything else, but I was able to convince Google to get that stuff back to my son's phone. Why they couldn't do it? And and I found out one thing I did release to you guys is that my son possibly, when I say possibly, I know his cell phone was moving around as if he was doing some Instacart. That's the only thing I can think of my son does at night to on the job, when he come from one location that was suggest this location. I would not say the name of the place, but going back and forth from this one location, it would suggest that he was working Instacart that night. So I'm trying to get information from Instacart. It's a little harder than Google. I'm still waiting on the CEO or whoever to see if they can furnish me that information. But found out his work pattern and what he did, that night. So that's the reason why he probably said if he was at the well site, that he was tired. If they did a little bit of homework, a little bit of work, just a little bit of detective work, they would have figured that out, and I wouldn't have had to figure that out in 2022. So that type of stuff. But they was quick to put that in a report before they can even figure that out. So that's the kind of thing right there, from lack of urgency, lack of care, and things like that. So yeah, of course, I look at that. I see foul play. I don't, like I said, I can be a little biased. Of course, I should be. That's what make me out here as a father. I have to be biased because I love my son, and that's what drive me to come to find him. That's my job, to be biased. I know my son, and I know the way he thinks. I know how he is, how responsible he is as a young man. He's not perfect either. None of us perfect. But I'll tell you one thing: my son has been taking care of himself. He's a scientist, and nobody's going to demote him in life than what he really is. So he's a scientist. He's a brilliant man, and he has a promising career and a promising life. So I'm going to fight for that. Well, of course, I'm going to be biased, but also I'm being realistic. I'm realistic now. It's hard for me to go out there every Saturday with the volunteers and look at the numbers that's dropping of volunteers of people who want to search that desert in the areas that we need to search again, or search that we haven't gotten to yet, and try to convince people to come out there and help me search for my son after almost 9 months. I'm not going out there to look for Daniel alive. I mean, we know that by now. We're going out there to recover his body if he's out there. So you know what? That's what I have to do as a father. That's not being biased and say, hey, I believe my son is still alive in the desert, running around butt naked because he's just that tough of a guy. No, I'm being realistic. It's realistic. It's hard as a father and a family to even think about that. It's the reality of the thing, and you have to be mentally tough to be able to take that. So I'm out there, and I have my hard days. Volunteers tell you, I have some days where it's hard for me to be out there. I'll just put it that way. But you know what? To see smiling faces of people who I know is going to always be there, I have some. That I don't want to call out names. I'm about to call out everybody's name. So you know who you are when you come up to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Robinson," you give me a hug and say it's going to be okay. Those things help. It helps a whole lot. It keeps this thing going. It keeps me going. So I really appreciate you guys. Also, thank you for your question, Charlotte, on the web. All right, I have a question here from Lakeisha Douglas. Thank you so much for coming on, and thank you and you're one of them I just talked about, for coming to the searches, distribution, flyer distribution, and I really appreciate your help even coming out there, it was only a few of us, and we put out over 2,000 flyers. So that helps get these flyers out and make sure the word is getting spread to people here in Arizona who still haven't heard about my son's case. So you're very dedicated to that, and you make sure my son name is getting out there. So I appreciate you. First of all, your question: have you recently spoken to the parents of the company that Daniel was working for? I have one coming up. I did talk to Daniel's boss, and I told him I need to. We're gonna have some upcoming meeting with them again. Yes, I will be. I don't know which one. I haven't talked to the mother yet personally, and she's the top owner of the company. The husband, I think he's under her in that company, but ultimately they both own that company. Their son is Daniel's friend from college, and so yeah, yes, I will have a meet with them because a lot of things we do have to discuss, and some things that so I'm looking forward to that. It should be coming up out of this week or next week, most likely next week now, being the latter part of the week coming up now. I think what the day is, these days going past me, is Tuesday already. I doubt if I can muster up a appointment with them this week. I may can, but I'll be trying to go for that next week. I had this candlelight visual and things like that. So thanks so much for that question, Lakeisha. I really appreciate you again. My name is Dave Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. If you have questions, please put the word question there first, and then followed by your question, and I can get to it easily as I come down the timeline. So thank you so much. Thank you, Anu, for putting that information up on the tip line. If you see something, heard something, say something, remember something, just say something. That's what the tip line is for. You guys, if you want to leave anonymous tip, or just want to leave a tip at all, you can call this number at the bottom of the screen behind me in this bulletin. Just call that number, and it's 24 hours, 7 days a week. Live operators will take your call. They will also let you remain anonymous if you like. You don't have to worry about being known who you are if you want to stay anonymous. Also, if you just don't want to talk to an operator at all, you can text the word tip to the number and on the bottom of the screen. And like I said, you can still stay anonymous, or if you want to say who you are, you can do that too. But please, again, use that just for the tips. If you have legitimate tips that can bring my son back to his family, or you really know something, and you want to share it, please do that tip line. If you have anything else that you just want to say and suggestions, please use the number I just put up on the bottom of the screen. That's my public cell phone number. You can use that number from calling me to say hello to, like I said, leave a tip or anything like that. So but I can't promise you being anonymous. I keep saying that if you was to want to be anonymous, do not call the cell phone number, because I can't provide that for you unless you're using some type of burner phone. I cannot provide that for you. But I can tell you, if you want to stay anonymous, use the number now that I just put down again, the tip line, and you can remain anonymous. Anything else you need to learn, go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, and all information is there to help you, also guide you where you can help, search to donate to whatever to this call. So I'm really grateful for you if you do that also. All right, thank you for your comments. I just love the comments I see at the same time in chat. Thank you, Sunset Dragon, for that. Thank you also, Kathy Cheatham. Okay, good morning. That's right. I want to, we go way back. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate you coming out on YouTube, coming out to be a part of the Q&A. Thank you so much. Well, I'm happy to see you in here. So again, if you guys have questions, please put the word question there first, and followed by your question, and I will get to it. I can see it down the comment section. It'd be easier for me to track it, and I really appreciate that. I have one from Rachel Arnold. Thank you again for being here, and thank you for your question off of Facebook. The question is, how well did Daniel know the coworker he was with that day? Also, are the coworkers Daniel's age? Well, you know what? That gentleman, the guy that was at the well site, my son, he's an older gentleman. He's a little older than I am. In my opinion, I don't know his age, but he appeared to be. But as in Daniel knowing him, no, this is their first time supposedly meeting. This guy, he works for a different company. My son works for Matrix, Southwest Groundwater. He worked for a company. The other guy works for a company called Weber. And there's two different companies, but they do two different things. I think the company he worked for is the people who actually drill the well site. Who actually, so I think that well that my son was meeting him at has been capped for years. I mean, they had a top on it. They sealed it. It's been sealed for years. And I think he came out to open it up so it can be, so my son can go in and, they can go and do their job. My son, he worked for Matrix, like I said, Matrix Southwest Groundwater. You can also call it Matrix New World. And he's a field geologist, Daniel, and where he can come in and check the viability of the well. The well had to produce over 100 years of water by law for a community to be built there. And his job is to determine that, and also to check the rock sediments that's in the bottom of the well to determine, is it even drinkable water, things like that. So his job is very important. And also, we want to tell you that, yeah, that's one of the things about that. So, they're not around the same age, but yes, they didn't know each other. Supposedly didn't know each other. They met each other for the first time. In fact, the guy at the well site had to direct Daniel to the wells, to the Sun Valley Parkway gate, where they got out. Daniel got out the vehicle with the safety vest on and his clothes on. He's on the ground out here, and they had a brief conversation. What was told to me by this guy at the wells, he said they had a brief conversation. Daniel got back in the vehicle, followed him into that well site, down into the well site, where they had spent about 10 minutes there before he said my son drove off and disappeared. So thank you for that question. Okay, again, my name is Dave Robinson, father of geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm here to do a Q&A. I have a question in here from Kathy Cheatham. Thank you again for being here. Was the work colleague interrogated by the police? I wouldn't say interrogated, he was questioned. And that's the thing. I have never heard that Buckeye Police Department use the word interrogate, not once. They have interrogate in their language in their report, and they never said use the word interrogate to me. They said, "Oh, I talked to, or I questioned, blah blah blah." That's it, never. And then it's not more than once. I don't think they went back twice. They claimed to talk to the guy at the well site, but they say talk to, So no, interrogation is not a word that's been used to this date that I ever heard from that department in any form or fashion. So no, I would assume no. No, they never interrogated. I almost thought they interrogated me and my daughter because they put us in the interrogation room. I think we was the only ones probably that ever been in the interrogation room dealing with this whole entire thing. I don't think the young lady who was able to upload her own text messages to a department's police report had to go in the interrogation room. I don't think the guy at the well site had to go in the interrogation room, or any of his coworkers had to go into an interrogation room. But we did. We came up there. They invited us up to ask us some questions they want to know and help with the bank records and things like that. They took us around the opposite back side of the building. We went inside this secured place, and they took us in this room. And when I look at it hindsight now, that's exactly what it was, an interrogation room. So my daughter and myself. So, at the time I didn't think of it. I just think, hey, this little office that they was having us sit in or whatever, table, sitting there in this little small, tight room. No, it's an interrogation room. So anyway, I think we're the only one that was interrogated. Oh, thank you, Latoya. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Put a smile on my face. And I really thank your father for being here. Great man. Being here in Arizona. Put boots on the ground with me out there in that desert. And also came to the candlelight vigil. I'm really grateful for him. And I'm grateful for you and your mom and your sisters and your brother. Thank you so much for being here this morning and with your question. Good morning. I understand the coworker has not joined any of the organized searches. What about the female? What about the female friend? Has she been out to assist or show concern in any way? No, none of those people that plays a part in this report has ever been to any of the searches or show any kind of. They ain't so much to say, hey, Mr. Robinson, I'm sorry this happened to you in your family. or anything, any kind of suggestions. I did, when I talked to the guy at the well site, he was like, hey, man, if I knew your son's mannerism, blah, 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 I probably would have known something, something or the other. He was looking all like he was, had an issue with himself. And, I said, hey, man, don't beat yourself up. It's not your fault. And that was able to get him to be comfortable with me to share more information, what he had going on in his head. But as in, like I said, if a person is saying they was really concerned, that they will get out, they go follow tracks and make sure they don't disturb it, because they knew the police are gonna come looking, and this thing's gonna turn big and go national, and that he was gonna have to go, he had to paint red, use red paint to paint rocks to help people direct the police in and things like that. Where you think tracks win and things like. Somebody go through all that extremes when you think that the first thing they would do is make a phone call. Hey, look, this guy's missing, man. He takes too long. I wonder if he's coming back. The first thing I did, got on the phone and dialed his number. I dialed it already before, talk the call. Obviously, I look at the call log before Daniel got there. I saw some calls between those two. And when you think he would have did that, no, he didn't do that, and he didn't come to the any of my searches. Any. Then suggest to this date, he even give a, hey, Mr. Rouse, I'm sorry you're going through this, or your family, or whatever the case may be. Haven't gotten that. Young lady, she's a young lady. I don't know if to expect that from her or not, because she's young. But no, I have not gotten anything from her either. Any kind of indication, for what I understand, she could be living her best life. Could care less, in my opinion. But I don't know. But I do know that, no, he didn't. I don't get anything. And it's and also from the other young lady that we still, the anonymous young lady, that's also, we cannot ever forget that there was two people at that location where my son spent the night over these people's house that night with these two young ladies. And we still don't know who the second young lady is to this date. That department chose not to even question her, or to even redact a name of a person who was also there. And the lady said it was a person there. My son told me that night personally he was there with two young ladies. So, and he delivered their wine. And it's not liquor. Some of these reporters put out, like I said, they'll put things they want to in their report. I understand my son is a black male, but he was not delivering liquor. They was talking, oh, liquor. No, he was delivering wine to these ladies. These ladies' order was messed up, and there's wine. So I can tell you that too. Also, thank you, Latoria, so much. You put that smile on my face. I really appreciate it. You being here this morning to support, and also be here to ask your question. I really appreciate you. Thank you, and God bless you. All right, thank you so much. Again, my name is Dave Robinson, father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. If you have a question, please put the word question there first, followed by your question, and help me go down the comment section and see those. Brooklyn Cord Cutters TV, thank you again for being here this morning. Your question, just wondering, have you checked any water lines, not wells, water streams, or ponds? Yes, we checked the Hacienda River. There's some other washes there, a lot of washes there. One main one's the Wagner Wash. We checked all those. We are going up and down. It's very hard, and that's what another thing. The reason why it's difficult now. I was talking to one of the ladies who's working on the team out in my searches out there in the desert. It's very hard for the last few weeks that I had to cut the searches down to just being down to a line search. And we need a line search. Line search is super important. But we also need line searches in some areas that we still to this day couldn't get to. And that's dealing with what you were saying, the water lines coming off those mountains and things like that. That's the usually that rivers and stuff in the flash flood season, the water season, rainy seasons, they move things downstream, and anything in it. A lot of things get buried. If you happen to get caught in something like that, you would get buried, possibly even in the vehicle. So, we try to get people out in these areas. It's hard. Most people that come out of searches driving two-wheel drives, regular cars. I even have just a regular car. You can't get to these areas. So those equipment that I use, the four-wheelers, like the four-wheeler vehicle, the Jeeps and the quads and the razors that I like to use. And I like to use the razor. I get a 4-seat razor every time because several reasons. Get me where I need to go in these locations, and also help protect the volunteers that's out on the ground. My main concern is to protect the volunteers who come out to try to help me. You know, the last thing I need is for one of the volunteers to get injured or something happen to them. So, you know what? I like to have those razors out there. So we had even one incident where one of the young ladies was one of the ladies was volunteer, got exhausted. One gentleman, he got exhausted, and we had to carry them back to the command center. Things like that. So those vehicles are very important out there for several reasons. And you know, I was unable to have those provide those vehicles lately, other outside of people who bring their own, because you know, like I said, I'm trying to get the funding up to get forensics and work done on these vehicles. So you know, just be here in Arizona, just to be here in Arizona too, it takes a lot to be here on ground zero. If I'm not here, nobody's gonna go looking for my son, and not that department. You know, so I had to be here for that. But as in your question, yes, we check all the water lines. I would like to get line searches out there in some of these areas, but logistic wise, it's very difficult. We have more UTVs. It'll be beautiful, especially for four-seater UTVs that'll get people out. We can shuttle people to a location, and we can do these line searches and shuttle them back to the command center, because we do have command centers out there in the desert. So yes. Again, if you're new here on this channel, my name is Dave Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson, who went missing on June 23rd at his job site doing what he does. He's a geologist. You know, he worked as a company as a field geologist, checking the viability of the well. He's with one other guy, just him and one other guy, lone people out there in the desert. This whole story narrative is based on one guy's testimony that my son waved off to him, drove off in that desert out west, farther in the desert, where he was never seen again. His vehicle right here has showed up almost 30 days later in that ravine on July the 19th. Was found by a rancher who was out there 2 to 3 days prior, searching for his cattle. It wasn't there, and like I said, 2 to 3 days after he went out there, he came out there again to see if the cattle came through that ravine, because he says cattle always come through the ravine to get to the corral that's which is south. That's when he found the vehicle. Reported to the Buckeye Police Department, who came out, and they say they did extensive ground searches, used cadaver dogs, search dogs, and everything. They didn't alert me as a father who's been on the ground since June 26th. They didn't alert me that the find of my son's vehicle to almost over 24 hours later. Which was on the 20th. It was hard for me, because I remember back in doing interviews, I kept using July 20th, and I had to get corrected. Hey, no, that vehicle was found on July the 19th, and that's because they didn't tell me about my son's vehicle until over 24 hours later that it was found. So, you know, but I've been here since June 26th, looking for my son. I started my own searches. I started my own reaching out to the community to get help in the searches, and also I was able to get local news to catch my son's story. I also was able to get national attention, and I won't give that credit totally to the mosquito case, but because I worked hard. I worked really hard to get my son's name out there, and I had to take some credit for that also, for the hard work. And I'm telling you something, but it took 3 months for it to happen. It took 3 months to get his name out there. And his name is still out there, and it's all because of you guys. You guys keep sharing my son's story. You guys keep providing the funding that I need to be here on the ground and search for my son, and I'm really grateful. I have billboards because of you guys. I have billboards from the east side of Phoenix, all the way out to going to a Buckeye on I-10 and one on I-17. And I'm saying I'm really grateful, you guys, for everything you're doing. Kept helping me keep me here on ground zero, as you can tell. I've been out here for all this month, for almost 9 months, and I have yet to get this department to spend any money, some serious money. They spend a lot of money on the accident reconstructionist who never even seen my son's vehicle. How you could be an accident reconstructionist on a vehicle you never seen, touched, or you feel or looked at anything, but you was able to make your report, they're able to make it in the report, making their police report. But my investigator, who actually gave them information, used their information to find out information, and you don't want to put that in a report. So, it's a lot. I kind of go off on that stuff because it's crazy to me. It's ludicrous. And but you know what? I've been here, like I said, searching for my son, and you guys helped me to do so. If I wasn't here, this craziness that I've been talking about from that department would have went just like that. I would have been one of those families. I hate to say it this way, because I don't accuse no other family for their own situation. But I'm just a different kind of guy. I couldn't see myself at home in South Carolina calling here in Arizona every day to that department and say, hey, did y'all go out there? Did you find any information today? And here it is 8 months later. And they say, no, Mr. Robinson, matter of fact, you got to split up on the thing. Matter of fact, I'm out here right now looking and we ain't got nothing going on. We can't find nothing. We really working hard right now looking for your son. You know, I'm not one of those persons to be able to actually not be hands-on. You know, hands-on. This is my son. And, you know, I rather work with the department. I'd rather us go work together, but they're not gonna work by themselves. You know, one thing about it, you know, I keep saying it over and over again, we're their boss. And I think sometimes as citizens, we forget that these departments work for us. They're using our tax money. They work for us. So we have the right to tell them to get off their behinds, for lack of words I really want to use, and do some work. You know what I'm saying? Utilize our tax money to help find these missing people. And like you're supposed to allocate some of this money, especially in states like Arizona, who have plenty of money. They find money to do everything else they want to do, but somehow they found money to get an accident reconstructionist, and they'll say, "Oh, we can't afford this budget." Yeah, you did that just to try to cover yourself and try to get this man to say what you want him to say. But you cannot come up with money like I see in these cases that went national, and they're using. I think I don't even look at it GoFundMe, but I think it's like 100 and something thousand, 60 something thousand. I'm guessing, but they use that same money in one day look for a criminal who killed somebody. These departments thousands of times, you know, just thousands of dollars a day look for a criminal, but yet can't come and help me find my son. A department not coming out here to help me find Daniel, a geologist, a model citizen who contributed to the site and Arizona, who's out here worked hard, build his life, his career, don't have a criminal record, don't even so much have a speeding ticket, but yet you can go out there and spend thousands of dollars on a killer just because he took his backpack and put it on his family. Say he may be missing. You know, think about that. They find money, they pull money out their behinds or wherever they want to put it out for wherever they want to put it out. But when you have a young black guy here who's a model citizen, they come with excuses. Oh, we can't get cell phone pings. Oh, we can't get simple camera footage. You know, they had one camera footage at the Waffle House. They put that out on their report. My son was at a Waffle House and some woman said this and blah, blah, blah. And he was there for a minute and they had video footage. Told me that personally. As for the video footage, you know they gave me? Still camera shots of the video footage. That's how disrespectful stuff they do to me as a family member. And you think I'm not going to be here on ground zero to fight for my son with that kind of department? Somebody mistaken. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be here. They're not like me, I'm sure, but I'm going to be here to fight for my son because nobody would. And I'm glad you guys keep me here to do that. And I really need your help. So if you guys can help me any kind of way, spread the word, try to get other people involved, or whatever the case may be, ask these questions. I need donations too. You know, that's one of the hardest things to keep asking for, but I need donations. That's the only way I can stay here and keep things going is to have those donations, keep utilizing these monies to actually go search for my son. Sometimes it takes a long time to even get investigations done. So, you know, that's what I'm doing on my own. You know, like I say, forensic work. This another thing. They have been so slack. You don't see no marks. This is their picture. I use their picture to make this bulletin. One of their pictures they gave me, Buckeye Police Department. You don't see no markers on the guy. I can tell you all the pictures they gave me, no markers. They told me they use these helicopters and all this stuff. Not one time. And this is the Chief Hall said, we giving you all the pictures that we have. So I'm taking their word. Everything they have picture-wise is all the pictures they have, and they have it marked. Drone footage. And this footage on the scene footage. But I have yet to see anything helicopter. No, why I don't see no helicopter? Because I really don't believe there was ever a helicopter search for my son. That is something they put in a report. But they don't have any helicopter footage, you know, because there ain't no such thing. They don't have that. They don't have they can't say they did forensic. They told me personally, and I have them recorded and a witness. They didn't do no forensic work on the scene. They cannot go back and change that either. And they can't undo. They can't undo what they have done. And also, they can't undo these pictures. You don't see any markers there, forensic markers there on that scene. So it's the kind of things like that would make sure that I'm here for my son, because I can't have no confidence in the department that didn't do no work for my son. You can put whatever you want to in a report to make yourself look good and try to act like you did something. You're not doing anything. You want to treat your child like this, the way you treat my son Case. If this was a police cruiser, let's pretend that this was a police cruiser. You think this thing would have went that way? Well, I mean, we think the officer, he had a head injury, and I mean, every police in this country would have been out there in that desert. It wouldn't have been no volunteers, and just the volunteers that out there with me every Saturday. Every police department in this country would have been out there spending thousands of dollars a day, utilizing all kind of stuff. They come up with money out their behinds to make sure they go find this officer. My son is worth more than that too. He's worth just as much as any officer, any Blue Lives Matter or whoever stuff. He's a person. He's a human being too, and we all should be treated the same, regardless of who you are. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'm asking. I know I'm going off the tangent, and this is a Q&A, but I have my moments. And I have my moments. You have to bear with me because it makes me angry. And sometimes I can't sit here all the time for over almost 9 months and don't express my feelings sometimes. So thank you for hanging in there with me. Question: why was the love story sold to the press and public? You know, that came at a time. That's funny. I'm glad you said it, Lakeisha. Thank you again for being here. That came at a time when I remember my son's story first went national, and I was asking everybody. I put Buckeye Police Department's phone number out on the website, and I was asking. I was on Twitter and asking everybody, "Hey, look, call that department," you know, and things like that. And people's doing it. I'm really grateful for you guys. And as that was happening, you know, everybody's asking, like, "Hey, why you haven't done this?" Friends work on the scene, to blah blah blah. You know, the news reporters and all that. I know it was asking them all kinds. They're hitting that department up hard. And the first thing they did is say, "Don't look at this, look at that over there." And they centralized my son's story. They stuck on this Caitlin thing over and over and over. And I just kept getting bombarded as a father, worrying about my son, trying to get answers about what happened to my son. To hear there was this question about some young lady and this false report they put up there that I said my son was in love with a woman he didn't know and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, they did all that on purpose. And not a matter of fact, a reporter came to me. They went up to Buckeye Police Department, came to me personally in an interview when I had to do live interview with them, a personal interview, I meant to say, gave me a report, put it in front of my face, and it was highlighted in yellow about this young lady, right? They said this is how it was given to them. They highlighted that area because they wanted them to talk about that, you know. Yeah, he went under her house uninvited, some stuff like that, you know. And what I told that reporter, when they asked me what I thought about that, I said it's character assassination. My son is a brilliant man. He's a scientist. He's from South Carolina. He graduated with honors. You know, he's a young man. How many of us don't have any faults or flaws or whatever as a young man, you know? But he's navigated his life. He's living on his own. He's successful. He's brilliant. Like I said, he has dreams to travel and start his own business. Even the weekend before he went missing, he had plans with his sisters to go hiking. So why make plans on something and just go missing, you know? That was just a way to throw off and take the way I took it, and I'll be honest with you, is another way, the same, like what Gisette said on the family vigil. It's the same playbook, different person. They would take things like that, especially with black men, and find a way to kind of criminalize us in a certain way to kind of devalue us a little bit. So it could be like, hey, look, he probably caused it on himself or something, you know, some kind of way to try to make him look something wrong with him, some type of way. Or he did it to himself somehow. You know, that's the same playbook. It's been going on for years and years, and I mean forever. And you know, it had to stop. Things like that had to stop. And you know, that's what they try to stick on to sell a story, so you can take out the focus and say, hey, don't worry about what the police didn't do on the scene. Then they put no forensic work on things. Don't worry about them not interrogating these people. Don't worry about them not getting these cell phone pings and looking at the Uconnect and all this kind of excuse that. Don't worry about them getting a false, in my opinion, false investigator who never even seen this vehicle, which is a fact, never seen this vehicle or even touched the vehicle, but able to put a report in their report. Don't look at the fact they let a young lady upload her own information into their police report. She could easily adopt it, and I could tell you everything she put out there don't match my son's phone record. So the thing is, I'm saying, you know, they're able to do that for whatever reason they're doing it. Is where I could take it is, and I never try to make this thing all about race, but he's a young black man. I can use that angle and say that's the truth. He's a young black man. Let's divide him. No, you're not going to do that on my watch. I'm a father. My son is just as much human as anybody else, and everybody else is human. And we all should be treated the same, and nobody should be treated different. My son is no better than nobody. Nobody's better than him. And that's the fact. So thank you, Lakeisha, for that question. I'm getting a little riled up this morning. I'm trying to keep myself not so. Okay, question. Was Daniel Jeep a two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive? Thank you. I was told by my investigators four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive. I think Daniel told me himself that we had discussions about the vehicle that is four-wheel drive. So I'm assuming yes, four-wheel drive for what I was told. So thank you for that question. Don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe if you're new here. Please help me get that so the algorithms can get this Q&A out farther. I'm trying to spread the word of my son's case, keep it alive. I can't depend on the media. The news media only interested in stories that's new, something that will get them ratings, something that will get them sponsorship, to sell tag commercial to whatever. So things like a person being missing is not as important to the news media. And it's sad to say. And I see some of these people that had me on their interviews once, and they seem passionate and things like that. They may be personally, but network-wise, they're not passionate like that. And that's some of the reasons why communities of color, for instance, would go unheard because they don't sell stories. I think they call it white women syndrome, where that would actually sell a story. People would be more engaged and things like that. They can make money. It's all about money at the end of the day to these networks. Like I said before, in that Petito case, it's not the Petito family's fault that they got national attention. I'm glad they did. I would all families get national attention and get the kind of attention and all the efforts they receive. They should receive that effort, but everybody should, not just that family, because it's not their fault. It's the way, like I said, society handles cases. They'll handle this young black man case just like that. Hey, look, let's half-ass do it. Excuse my expression. Let's half do it and just give the bare minimal, whatever case may be. It's not that important. You know what I'm saying? But other cases they see it as important, and they will go all out. And like I said again, if this is a police officer vehicle, yeah, you can imagine. You can imagine the top story for weeks would be about this police officer disappeared, and his clothing's on the ground, and sunroof was kicked out, and his cruiser and his work laptop still there, and his cell phone and all that. His whole uniform on the ground, his underwear, socks, and his gun and badge was on the ground, sitting at the scene. And not one officer in this world would say, "Well, I don't see no criminal activity here." It would have never happened that way, and we all know that. We know that they would look at that scene with that officer stuff sitting there, and they would have immediately had markers and everything, and the whole desert would have been considered a crime scene. They would have found that skull that we found on a few hundred feet from that vehicle. They would have been scrubbing that ground with everybody they can, because it would have been important to them. Daniel's not important to that department. I don't care what Chief Hall said with that smirk on his face. And I still look at that video and make me mad. With that smirk on his face, saying it's far from the truth that you don't care, man. Don't care, because if he cared, he would have been calling me personally. If he cared, he would have been out to my searches. He would direct his officers to be out there at the searches. He would direct his officer to get to find out what happened to my son. He would direct his officer to keep me informed. Things like that. You don't care. Like I said, actions speak louder than words. So thank you guys for coming out again. Thank you, Esther Levy, for your question. Have you spoken to Steve from the workplace yet? Apparently, Ken called Steve when he couldn't contact Daniel. Now, I don't know. I don't know who he is. Steve is. Couple of names in that report, I don't know. People, I went up there to meetings, and some of these people that was on that report, somehow in that office, they always not know. I asked about one of them. I'm gonna say the name, and they said, "Oh yeah, he's a worker here," but that's all I know. Whoever he is hidden. Some people are hidden. I don't know who they are. Like personally talk to them. No, I don't know who they are, but eventually I would. So that's what I have a private investigator for. That's his job, not mine. But again, I do my own investigation, so y'all hear about that a lot, and I will find out. Trust me, I find out things anyway. So thank you for that question. Shannon Naylor, thank you so much for being here this morning off of YouTube. Question: Is there cell phone service at location where the cars found. Yes, I have AT&T, and I have never said yet. And I don't know if it's an AT&T thing. I'm out there in that desert everywhere. I have yet to drop a call. I can do live stream video, as you've seen out there in the desert. Have no problem at all. You do have some carriers. My son did have T-Mobile Sprint, so that's possibly having losing cell phone signal, because we did have some volunteers out there. I think it was out of Verizon or T-Mobile Sprint at the time that was dropping. It could be either. It's one out of the other. I'm not sure, but it can drop calls out there. But it's not so bad, ever so bad, that we don't get signal at all out there in that desert for other carriers. I have never heard of volunteers say, "Hey, I had totally no service or something," or it's that bad. They was dropping calls that bad. You may have a drop call or something like that, but I have never had one with AT&T, so I can't say that. I'm going to speak for that company in that area. So thank you so much for the question. I have one from Kathy again, Kathy Cheatham. Thank you so much for being here this morning. How did Daniel's company find out that he was missing? Well, the story was that once the guy at the well site noticed that when Daniel drove off, he said there's two sides of that, two ways that the police officer expressed that to me, and he stuck with one of them when I talked to him. But the two stories was after Daniel left, the first story he told the police officers, that one of the officers, that after a while that Daniel left, he didn't know if Daniel was gonna come back or not. But after Daniel left, the workers, his job called him and inquiring about Daniel, and that's when he realized that Daniel must have been missing. They inquired to ask about him. Hey, you haven't seen Daniel? Blah blah blah, so on so on, and that's what prompted him to go look for him. Then the other version of that was that he took a while. He didn't come back, so I went and go look for him. And when I couldn't find him, I called his job. So it's two different ways they put that story. That's another thing about that the story that was given to me coming up here. I got that story on the way up here to Arizona. As I'm traveling, like I say, I'm constantly in contact with that police department. So those are the stories I heard from that department personally. Of course, on my recorded calls, lines, and things like that. So yes, that's personally what I have. And so yeah, to answer your question, that's the way they found out. I guess I'm not sure what way they found out. I don't know if it was because Ken called them or they called him. I just heard two different versions of that. So that's the way that works out. So anyway, again, thank you for your question this morning. My name is Dave Robinson. I'm father of geologist Daniel Robinson, who went missing on June 23rd, 2021. He remained missing. His vehicle right here was found in that ravine out there in the remote area of the desert, on about a little over 3 miles away from where he was last seen in that well site. That was, like I said, in a ravine, 20-foot ravine. Was found by a rancher who was out there tracking his cattle. I've been out here since June 26th searching for my son. I have volunteers like yourself or people like yourself who's showing interest in my son's case to help me stay here in Arizona, to be on the fight for my son, to help me, get the word out. So I really appreciate you guys for being here this morning and everything. So thanks so much. God bless you. Excuse me. Question: did you have the chance yet to do forensics on the car or clothing? No, I have not. I'm still working on that. Again, that is dependent on, I'm gonna tell you this. I utilize my own money, and you guys utilize your GoFundMe money, right? And I had to spread that money out in different ways. I had to do the flyers. I had to be here in Arizona. I had to do, the whole thing to get the word out. Also had to conduct my searches out there in the desert, and that took a lot. I was able now to bring my searches down to a level where I'm saving a whole lot of money. But right now, as it stands, I need to build more money to be able to get the forensics work done on this vehicle that should have been done on day one. That shouldn't be a picture that I have to make a fly out of or make this billboard out of without forensic markers on the ground. I shouldn't have to be even asking people to donate so I can get forensics work done on my son's vehicle. That's something I shouldn't have to do, but I'm doing that. So I'm asking you guys, if you can, donate to the GoFundMe, or you can donate to the Cash App, because I did have people wanting to use the Cash App. They asked me, because they don't want the fees, because GoFundMe had their fees, and they want to donate direct without the fees. Again, I just need the help. So if you guys can help, I really appreciate that. So yes, I'm trying to get a forensic work done on that clothes. Not on the clothes, his cell phone already getting taken care of, but it have other articles. His work computer, his personal computers. Like I said, that vehicle itself, his clothing, all that stuff had to be forensically tested and checked out. So, and it's very costly. So thank you so much for that question. Again, I'm Dave Robinson, father geologist Daniel Robinson that went missing on June 23rd, 2021. I'm here doing a Q&A. If you have a question, please put the word question there first, or Q, and it'll help me find your question, and I'll go down and answer that. Question: do you have any theories on what happened to your son? Yes, I have a lot of theories. Well, not a lot of theories. I have one theory, and the theory is that it was foul play. The theory I have is that somebody and some people are involved in my son's disappearance. My theory is what happened to my son, they planted this vehicle here to give it appearance, because things just don't match up even with the scene. This from a lay person, the person that I don't have no detective experience, but I can look at that and tell things are not right. If a vehicle even partially roll over, or like Buckeye said, it rolled over and flipped over this way and did this. This is what they originally told me until they got their, in my opinion, bogus estimate reconstruction, who still is bogus, because you can't make an opinion about a vehicle you never even seen before in your life or touched. But you got a glass. Only glass is busted out in this vehicle. First of all, when I first saw this picture like this, Buckeye Police Department told me the glass on the ground came from the sunroof, right? That didn't explain to me where the glass in the driver's door, where that glass went to. That didn't explain that. So the thing is that vehicle don't have a sunroof glass. First of all. Second of all, that glass in the driver's door, it is miraculously, the glass is on the ground. When I went to that scene, it was on the ground in perfect shape form, a perfect shape on the ground, right? I would think of a vehicle flipping over, doing all that stuff, that glass would have been scattered, scattered in some form. It wouldn't be just perfect on the ground like that. If you go out there now, it's all over the place, and people's going out there for that reason, kicking around and getting souvenir from it or whatever they're doing. I heard somebody actually said, "Hey, look, I had to get a piece of some of that glass for souvenir." I don't know why people want to do that, but that's what people do. But it was in perfect shape on the ground. This perfect square. That could indicate a lot from a detective standpoint for me. I'm not a detective, but I think I'm a better one than some of the departments. But anyway, yeah, that would have been questionable to me, why the glass was that way, and why there was no glass in the vehicle itself. If a glass in the windshield on that window broke out and it was doing all that flipping, do you think some of the glass would have made it inside the vehicle? It's things like that. So you got to ask those questions. You got to ask those type of questions. Anyway, again, my name is Dave Robinson. I'm doing a Q&A. You have a question, put the letter Q or the word question there, and I can get to it. A question: who was the last person that called Daniel on his phone? I cannot get the information out because that's part of investigation stuff. So I won't be able to do that one. I really appreciate your question, but yeah, I do have the answer to that one also. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that question. All right, that one from Shiro's Nation. Thank you so much. As a veteran, we're taught attention to details. That's right. Attention to details. We get that drilled into us really hard. Disappointed LE doesn't have equitable standards. Do you think this will encourage proper training? Case handling happens too often. We need accountability, and that's what this petition is for. Also for that accountability and to advocate for change. Shiro's Nation. I really appreciate you say that, and I appreciate, first of all, you saying something about paying attention to details, and you say that because we are trained to pay attention to details. Those drill sergeants in basic training will get on your behind if you're not paying attention to details. So, and you have to. That's a survival mechanism, and also for things like this, so you can get information. So, yeah, anybody who comes into those departments need to, first of all, want to be there. I think sometimes these guys come into these police departments or rank up or whatever case may be, in my opinion, may be just for the fame or this prestige or whatever the case may be. They probably really don't care about the job, because you know what? You can have the name you want to. Some people may have been bullied all their life and they become a cop, and now they can just bully on other people. I don't know what the case may be, but you know what? If you're not that type of officer that want to be out there and really find answers and help families and help people, you shouldn't be an officer. I don't give no props to nobody with a badge on when they're not really doing what it's bad cops out there just as much as good cops. And you know, I don't give nobody no homage because they wearing a badge and they got a uniform on. Then don't mean you're a good person. I mean, look at this. How can you be a good person? You can see that, and if that was your child, you're not out there doing everything you can with the family to find out what happened. You know, so you can't be a good officer. That's not what you're doing on your job. I shouldn't go in the police department like I did before, and I see somebody sitting there and they just kind of, and they saying some little mean things to you, or they're sitting there on some typing computer and kind of laying back and on a phone call. No, you should be running around there. And I said this before. I like to see a police department moving like they do at Chick-fil-A. I say Chick-fil-A a lot because I go there drive through and I see all those people move, and they treat you with kindness and they talk to you nice and they doing their job at the same time. Nobody should be seeing a police department where everybody's sitting around and half moving around. There should be officers and people running out in and out the door all day. That door should be almost coming off the hinge for officers going out there solving crimes and solving cases and things like that. So, I mean, really proactively doing something. They should be tired at the end of the day. The wives and husbands should be at home like, man, they say, I had a hard day today. I was out there working hard for this family and trying to find out answers and things like that, what happened to their loved ones and things like this, if you're a detective. So, yes, thank you for that. Again, that question. Yeah, we were taught as a veteran. Thank you for your service, too. And I really appreciate you. We were taught to pay attention to details. And, you know, I think some of those war ethos and things like that should be included in these departments. You know, saying you have to have some kind of pride and you know, pride about yourself as an officer. We take a lot. Being military, you take a lot. You learn a lot. And, you know, one thing for sure, if you're not serving people, you don't belong there. You don't belong in the department. So that's my opinion, and that's just the facts. Anyway, again, my name is Dave Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm here doing a Q&A. If you guys have questions, please put the word question there first, and then after your word question, then I can find that on the comment section. Thank you, Yulu, for pointing this up for Donald Duck. Thank you so much, Donald Duck, for being here again with your question. Have you filed suit against the Buckeye Police Department or any high up in Arizona because of their negligent failure of their son's case? You know, my main concern right now is to find my son. That's my chief and my number one goal. I have to find Daniel. And my mind is not focused on anything else but that. You know, and my job right now as a father is to see that my son's case has been handled properly. You know, I need to be side by side with whoever department. Like I said, I'd rather for this Buckeye Police Department to move out the way. That's why I'm asking for the FBI, because I refuse to let them just sit down with their hands folded or come with some bogus report and you know, and say things and do these what I call photo ops or whatever they do because they don't have the funding or whatever the case may be, and you don't have the funding, you don't have the pride and the care to even say, hey, look, we just can't do it. We don't have the funding or whatever the case may be. We need to get the FBI into your son's case, and they can help you, Mr. Robinson. That's what I need. I need you to move out my way, and because they're a stumbling block. They're a problem for me, and they don't want to do the job. They can't do the job. They're not doing it right. They don't even have friends and mark on the ground. You're not doing this job correctly. You need to move out the way. You failed the mission. You need to move out the way. Just be honest with yourself. You're not that great of detective. Whatever case may be, get out the way and let me have what I need for my son and my family. So my focus, Donald Duck, is on that, and that's on my family getting answers to what happened to my son, and to bring my son back home. So that's the only thing I have in my mind, and I really thank you for your question, and thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, everyone. Again, my name is Dave Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson, here in Arizona, looking for my son. And if you guys have a question, please put the word question there first, followed by your question. I have another from Kathy Cheatham. Thank you so much. Again, question so far, Daniel's Instacart shift. Are they saying he went back to his customer's house, stayed overnight, and proof he fell in love. I don't know what that department's saying. I don't know how they tying those in together, those two things. I just know that my son, I'm trying to get information from Instacart, by the way, when you asking that question, because yes, I'm waiting on them to provide that. Some of the things I couldn't get back, because that was stripped off his phone. That was stripped up from his phone too. His Instacart moves, he was doing that. So that was stripped from, a lot of things stripped out of that phone when I received it. All I know about that phone is that Detective Biffin told me on recorded line that he put the phone in his pocket. That's what I was told. And that, from the scene, and nobody had access to it, basically. And I was also told that he cloned the phone. So I know the phone been cloned because I turn it on now. It'll show the phone moving around in Buckeye. And it's cloned. Clone phone. First of all, it's against my son's constitutional right for them to have done that. They didn't ask me can they do it. I know they didn't ask Daniel. I mean, if they did ask Daniel, they need to tell me where Daniel at. But they didn't ask Daniel to be able to clone his phone. But I was told that his phone's cloned, and also that like I said, those things are missing with Instacart. So I don't have the information for that one. I don't know their thinking on that, Kathy. So thank you so much for that question. All right. I think I'm getting down to the end of my Q&A. I don't see any more questions coming up. I'm trying to see if y'all have any more. If you have any, please put the word question there first, followed by your question. That way I can come down and see. Okay, I see Lois. Thanks so much again for your question. This is not a crazy question. Questions are questions. This may be a crazy question, but how long will it take you and the volunteers to search the entire desert where Daniel was found? And that's a question. Yeah, it's not a crazy question at all. It's a question that's very sobering to me, because a lot of times I go out there in the desert on Saturdays. When you think you're done, you think you're done. Pretty much, I say you think you're done, meaning that you think you covered areas. I'll use an example. We're doing line searches south of where this vehicle was found, right? Near the corral where this rancher said his cattle was going to. And we so happened to go a little further west towards what we call as Pride Rock, where the mountain lion lives. And we're going to that direction, and then I ran into this well. Well, I thought it was a well, now I know it's a mine. Never seen it, never been in that area. That's one of those moments where you say, oh man, you look on the map and say, okay, we thought we had it covered. This area, we go ahead and clear it off. And then here it is, lo and behold, you see how much more within that area where this vehicle was found now. Reasonable walking distance, reasonable distance for something had happened, somebody carried him somewhere to this mine, for instance. It needed to be searched. So I'm saying it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell how long it would be. I just know it's been going on over 8 months now, searching for my son out there. And it all depends on volunteers. Sometimes I have lately less than 20 people. That's not going to cover much. Whether there's foot searches too, utilizing 4x4s and ATVs. The desert is huge. It's huge. It's a huge place. If you go one direction 7 miles, for instance, let's go 11 miles. Let's use an 11-mile radius. You're just going to take your foot, you turn left, and you just start walking 11 miles. You got to search all of that area with, let's say we use a line search, and you say, we're going to go that direction, turn left, and we're going to just go straight for 11 miles and come back. You haven't even put a dent in the area where the 11-mile radius going around would be. If you take 11 miles here, 11 miles there, 11, so you're going around the circle and send everybody out 11 miles for every direction. It takes a long time. It's a lot of. That's the reason why I need law enforcement's help, because they have specialized equipment, they have specialized animals and everything else. Same thing I've seen in this case for this man who's a murderer. Them officers on the ground, searching the ground and walking in lines and utilizing their equipment and stuff. That does would have been searched, I don't have no confidence in the department, because they couldn't even find a skull a few hundred feet from this vehicle with all the cadaver dogs they said they had, and all the search dogs and all the officers they claimed they had on the ground walking around that little area. They extensively searched for hours, they said, and they couldn't find a skull that was sitting near the well or near this vehicle that we found on my searches. So yeah, I don't have no confidence, but you know what? It takes a lot of dedicated people to be able to search that desert. And when we do it correctly, and it takes time. Sometimes we have to go over area, like for instance, where they building that community, the Howard Hughes Smart City, where my son was last seen, that area over there. We went over there 2 times, went over that area twice, probably 3 times, because sometimes it takes that to make sure that we're it's thoroughly being searched, because you can miss something. Even without, being volunteers, we can miss things. So we make sure that we double check things. So we do that also. Thank you so much for the question. Christina Lynn, thanks so much for being here this morning off Facebook. Get the state police involved. I don't know if it's a question or statement, but thank you so much for that. Yes, I'm trying to get every agency I can. And yes, I'm working on that too. Like I said, I have to put everything together in perspective, get this forensic work done, just put a packet together. And when I go to these departments, I want to go there with things I know and have. So thank you so much for your question. I really appreciate it. First of all, appreciate you coming in on the Q&A and helping out, and your support and your love support. I really appreciate that. God bless you for that. All right, I have one from Fire Mama 411. Thanks so much for being here this morning off of YouTube. How long was Daniel working at that job site? Where was the previous job location? Did Daniel have a work log report detailing his findings? But Daniel did have a work log, and that's one of the things I'm gonna get analyzed. He took some reason he decided to take pictures of these logs, and that's the ones I'm have analyzed. So he do have work logs, as in where his previous location. Yeah, it was not too far from. It was a pretty good distance. I'd say about 30-minute drive, if that, 15 to 30-minute drive from the location that he was, the second location, well site. So he did go to the previous well site, was right off the I-10 corridor. So yes, he wasn't too far, but far enough from this distance from each other. And he'd been at that job site, the one he went missing for under 10 minutes, according to the guy who last talked to my son. So he hadn't been that long before he said my son decided to hop in his vehicle and drive off where he was never seen again. So yes, thank you for that information. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that for that question. Again, my name is Dave Robinson, father of geologist Daniel Robinson, who were missing on June 23rd. I'm doing a Q&A and come down to the end. And I'm really grateful for you guys joining in with me. Please go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. If you can help in any kind of form or fashion, I really appreciate that, especially in the form of donation at this point, because I really need to get my searches up and going again. But the main so is the search in the way that I normally do it. But the main thing is, besides that, is to get the forensic work done on this vehicle. So a vehicle and the clothing and everything else. So if you guys can help in that endeavor, I really appreciate it. And I think I'm missing somebody. I do see you knew pointing out someone. I'm looking for it. I don't see the question, but if I miss your question, please put it up again. If I don't get it today, please bring your question again on the next Q&A, and I really appreciate it. Oh yeah, here go one here. Yes, I did reach out. Thank you, Art for Life, forensic artist. Thank you so much for your question. Yes, I did reach out to Echo Search dozens of times. I did talk to a guy named Dave Rader, who told me that my son's case do not fit their profile. And so, he did, on his fairness, he did, give me a referral. I utilized that referral. I talked to, I can't remember the agency still to this day. I keep trying to say I'm going to remember. But I reached out to them. They told me they was going to come out to the search along with the Buckeye Police Department. When I asked them out to the search this year, they're going to come utilize their drone. They explained to me how their drones work. It's the same type drones I need out for my searches that I'm trying to get sponsorship for, to be able to have those drones out there in the desert to properly search the desert, help properly search the desert for my son. They had those equipment, that technology and things that I need. They said it's going to come out, and then the day of the search, he called me that morning and said they weren't coming because the other workers, the guys that were supposed to come with him, they decided not to come to work or something or other, and he couldn't do it by himself. And I have yet to hear back from them. But yes, I reached out to Echo Search, and I know people, that's why I'm trying to be careful about the way I speak about Echo Search, because I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of confidence in that department or that nonprofit. And but I can tell you, I was told by him that my son's case do not fit their profile, whatever that means. It doesn't fit it. And yes, I did reach out to them on many occasions. So thanks so much for that question. All right. Again, if you have any questions, I will try to get to them. I'm getting down to the end of this. And I thank you guys for all your help. If you hit that like, share, subscribe button, that help with the algorithm to keep keep this channel going and also to bring awareness. Is there a way to donate other than Facebook? I don't have a Facebook way of donating. So if there's something out there that says off of Facebook, it's somebody else. It's not anything going towards me. So if you know that, Kathy, and you can give me that information off of Facebook, let me know so I can have it shut down because I don't have anything on Facebook, asking for donations. So, so if you have that, you find that, please let me know what you found and who they are and things like that. So I really appreciate anybody. Everything you find about donation would go on Please Help Find Daniel. You see on the bottom of the screen, pleasehelpfinddaniel.com, or you can go to Twitter. The Twitter, Please Help Find 4. Please Help Find the number 4. And the reason why is Please Help Find Daniel is not there because Twitter don't let me use a whole long line. So just Please Help Find 4 is the Twitter page, and there's a Cash App on that page that you can do the donation through the Cash App if you like. Now, you did put it on here, and the Cash App for the Please Help Find Daniel is the $ Please Help Find Daniel. All the first words are capitalized. That's please is capitalized, the H is the help is capitalized, the find is capitalized, and Daniel is capitalized, the first letter of each of those words. So if you see the way it's done there, that is the proper way for the Cash App. So if you want to donate, but like again, I said, Captain, if you find something on there that says Facebook or wherever, no, it's not authorized by me or my family. We do not know of that. And so just give me that information. I really appreciate that because there are people out there that may be doing things that shouldn't be done. So thanks so much for that information. Again, if you have any questions, please, by all means, put the queue there. I'm getting down to the end. It's been 2 hours. I can't believe that. 2 hours. I should be out here, get some things taken care of this morning, and I need to get to that. So thanks so much this morning for all your questions. I'll try to see if I can squeeze in 1 or 2 more, and I do have 2 more, and that should be it. Questions. When you received Daniel's Google account information, did the GPS data allow you to track his whereabouts from the day he went missing and when the Jeep was found by the rancher? There's some information that's there. I can't not put that out of how much information is still there, but I can tell you I'm able to find out some information that happened before my son went missing, and it gave me a clear understanding of his movements coming up to him being missing. So that helped out a whole lot. I still need more. There's some other things I'm working on, like I say, Instacart and so on, to get more answers to that. So thank you, Moochie Bear, for that question. I also have one from Lois Strickland. Thank you so much again. Okay, I think I had your question already before. I don't know how I get. Oh, that's probably one of the things I asked you if I missed it to repeat again. So thanks so much for your question again. Yeah, it do take a long while to search that desert out there, and it takes a lot of manpower and people. Saying like I said, I have low turnout now. It's a little different. So thank you. This from my brother Razine, one of my battle buddies from Afghanistan, and for my unit. Thank you for being here this morning, sir. I really appreciate it. Question: was there any blood in the vehicle? Well, according to the Buckeye Police Department, there was no blood visually in the vehicle. We didn't see the words they use out there in the meeting I had with Chief Hall, his Chief Sanders, and all this, their whole entire staff. They didn't physically see any blood in the vehicle. There was no test done to determine if blood was even wiped up out of the vehicle. So, I cannot say there was no blood in the vehicle. And it's said to be seen. When this forensic work get done, we will find out if blood was in that vehicle. But according to the Buckeye Police Department, no blood was found in the vehicle. because they didn't see any blood without doing any kind of testing for that. So, no. So thank you so much for that question, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here on the Q&A. I think I have it. That's it. Right. Again, you guys, thank you for being here this morning for the Q&A. Like I said, showing your support coming out. If you have having the tips, please use the anonymous tip line. It's right here behind me. It's on the bottom of the screen. If you have the tips, if you definitely have any suggestions or comments you want to get flyers to whatever, you can use this public cell phone number on the bottom of the screen to get in contact with me. I'm trying to answer your questions as soon as possible. You can imagine I have lots of text messages and calls, so I try to get them quick as I can throughout my day, things I have to do in the day, so I'm running behind now. Go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com for any information that you may need. And I really thank you all for coming out to support me. God bless you for doing that, because without you, I would not be here on ground zero for my son. I wouldn't be able to be effective. I wouldn't be able to get these flyers out. I wouldn't be able to, have these searches been performed, putting pressure on the Buckeye Police Department, or just not even pressure on I want pressure on them to move out the way, because they have been away for over 9 months, almost 9 months now. And it's time to have some fresh eyes on my son's case. And I need to be the FBI. And I'm asking you guys to say nothing, but that's what we want, and we demand that. So thank you so much, you all, for coming in and helping me on this Q&A. God bless you. I love each and every one of you. Talk to you soon.